Hello everyone, I'm the Enforcer, and welcome back to the breaking news. Starting off with our first bit of news, we have heard some very interesting revelations from the Ukrainian spy chief Budanov that there has been a plan to assassinate Prigozhin, and it's currently being put underway at this moment. According to the Ukraine spy boss, he said that Russia is plotting to assassinate Prigozhin. This also came from thedrive.com. According to what we know, we already know that Prigozhin was a part of a failed Wagner coup, and in fact was a leader of that failed coup, and so it would be safe to assume that something like that would lead to you being on a hit list by the Russian government. We are not exactly sure when this will happen. We've been supposing on this channel that it will most likely be in several months' time at least, because they have to wait for media attention to fall off of Prigozhin, and we've also seen other sources, such as the Institute for the Study of War, reporting a similar situation. Right now, the Russians are in a bit of a bind, or a catch-22. If they allow Prigozhin to live, it is possible that he may actually try and rally more people, for some reason or another, to rise up in rebellion against the Russian government. Of course, the coup failed, but that doesn't mean that people could go out and make small-scale attacks against the Russian government and other parts of the Russian Federation. So if they allow them to live, there's the possibility of further unrest. And in fact, there's the possibility that just his existence alone could further foster the idea of rising up and rebelling against the Russian government. Not only that, if they kill him now, then the situation will be far worse. He will be viewed as a martyr by the Russian public, the Wagner soldiers, and everyone else in the world for the most part. And then loads of people would most likely begin to take up the idea of rebelling or revolting against the Russian government, but it will most likely occur without Yevgeny Prigozhin. And so right now the Russians are caught in a bit of a catch-22, and so currently they are plotting to assassinate Prigozhin, but they can't really carry through on it right now. They'll have to wait for far longer until they actually can. We are assuming that the place he'll most likely be assassinated at this moment will be in Belarus. He is going to be living in exile in Belarus here for largely the rest of his life, from what we can understand, and once media attention begins to die off from the Russian Civil War and the failed coup attempt, and he has been living for a while in Belarus without a lot of media coverage on him, we'll probably see that the Russians then assassinate Prigozhin at that point. That could be in several months, that may even be a year out, but we are assuming that Prigozhin will not survive that much longer from this point, and the fact that Budanov is now coming out and making a statement that there is a plan by the Russians to assassinate Yevgeny Prigozhin, we can get an idea that that is most likely going to be happening at some point in the future. And so moving on from that bit of news, of course, a continuation of Putin's paranoia and the fact that he didn't have enough paranoia to really expect all of these events conspiring and beginning in front of him just days ago. Moving on into our next bit of news, we're already starting to hear that paranoia is beginning to boil over and is beginning to result in the removal of high Russian military officials. Many of y'all heard the breaking news yesterday that General Surovikin had been arrested by the Russian government, but now it appears that today his deputy general, Andrei Yudin, has also been removed from his post, most likely in connection to the Wagner coup. From information that we've been getting from sources and reports, is that General Surovikin actually knew about this ongoing coup at least days before it began and did not notify anyone in the Russian government. The exact reasoning why he didn't notify anyone is unknown. But there have been several theories. Most of them revolve around the idea that Surovikin was actually supportive of this coup attempt and was hoping to get something out of the coup if it was to actually succeed. And so that's why we saw that Surovikin did not notify anyone in the Russian government of the coup attempt, and now it appears that he is paying the price. He has been arrested yesterday and is now sitting inside of a Moscow high-security prison, most likely awaiting either a mock trial or a show trial, or awaiting some kind of an informal execution, one or the other. His deputy, the deputy of the general, Andrei Yudin, as pictured here, has also been dismissed from his post. He has not been arrested from what we understand, but the dismissal is important in its own right. With the dismissal from his position, it is safe to assume that he may actually not be expected to be arrested, he may actually be assassinated. His removal from the position really removes any protection the Russian government gave him, and now he's pretty much on his own out there in the world, and he could become the victim of some kind of an assassination attempt, or he may also be arrested and end up joining Surovikin in the high-security Moscow prison. We're not exactly sure which it will be at the moment, but it does show that the purge is starting to begin in small form, at least at this moment, from the news of Andrei Yudin also being dismissed from his post. Not only that, But this is also coming, and this paranoia is not just fueled by Putin for no reason. It is being fueled by the fact that Wagner attacks are still occurring against the government, just not in outright form. On the internet, just hours ago, an internet attack has taken out the Russian internet connections for the FSB, Gazprom, Rosatom, and its military installations completely. We can see that this was reported from NetBlocks, and as we can see right here, the internet connectivity had a couple of drops throughout the hours and has now dropped down completely to zero. And at this moment, we do not know if internet connectivity has been reestablished by Russian government sources. But at the moment, it is completely out from what we understand. And this is being done by a internet group that is claiming affiliation with the Wagner PMC. And of course, this is showing that while the Wagner claims that the coup is over and Prigozhin has ended the official coup, the after effects and the shockwaves from that coup inside of Russia have not ended whatsoever. And it appears that, in fact, they are going to be continuing on as normal. Russian internet security isn't as strong as most people would think. The Russians are known for manipulating people on the internet. They're not really known for hacking into systems on the internet, at least well. And so they most likely will be powerless against these kinds of attacks on their internet structures, and will also be largely powerless in trying to find the group of hackers that are doing this on the internet. So at the moment, they are completely helpless against these attacks and are at the whim of these internet attackers. Either they'll have to wait it out and try and see if these people eventually give up on their attempts to attack the Russian government's internet connectivity, or they'll have to try and bribe these people or find them in some other way, which most likely will not happen. We'll probably just see that these internet attacks continue, and the Russian government is plagued with inefficiency, further exacerbated by their lack of connection to internet facilities. And so, very interesting to see, and once again showing that the Wagner coup has had long-lasting effects on the Russian government itself. And not only that, we have also heard, according to the Institute for the Study of War, not just Andrei Yudin is being removed from his position, but there are reports coming out that even more people are being removed from their position. According to the Institute for the Study of War, a well-sourced Russian military blogger claimed that large-scale purges have been launched at Russian military commanders, and that the Russian Ministry of Defense is currently undergoing a crash test for loyalty. Linked was a link from Business Insider that talks about this an even further length, and we can see right here that they are talking about how the Wagner group is led to Prigozhin, well, more so Putin, having a lot of paranoia about what's going on out there in the world. And it says that a Russian military blogger has claimed that large-scale purges have been launched by the Russian military commanders, and that Russian Ministry of Defense is currently undergoing a quote-unquote crash test for loyalty. We don't really know what that crash test means. We don't really know how they conduct that crash test, but nonetheless, there is reports coming out that that is starting to happen. Sources also told the Financial Times that Putin is seeking to re-establish his authority over the Russian military in the wake of the rebellion, and is freezing out suspected traitors or sympathizers to repair his tough guy reputation. Of course, the damage has already been done to his tough guy reputation. We're probably going to see that that will continue on for quite some while. Of course, you can't really look like a tough guy when Prigozhin rises up against the government and you largely give in to his demands. On top of that, who knows if these people really were turning against the Russian government, or if they are now just the victims of the Russian government trying to purge the system. We will never really know, and Putin really won't know either. And so this is a bold attempt by Putin to try and take control of the situation, and will probably lead to even less control of the situation. Back in 1936, during the Great Purge under Joseph Stalin, this actually led to even greater military inefficiency, among a load of other things, just largely government and bureaucratic inefficiency by the Soviet Union after the Great Purge was conducted in the military and other parts of the government. And it appears that Putin will be doing the same thing. While it will lead to greater inefficiency of the government, it will most likely lead to Putin being able to keep control of his power for some while longer. Although we don't really know how long, and we don't really know how far the deception and betrayal of Putin goes inside of the Russian government either. It may be a massive amount of deception, betrayal that's happening inside of Russia and the Russian government. We'll never really know. Putin doesn't really know either, and his paranoia will only fuel the purge and its need to find people who were turning against the Russian government and out them, even if they were not against the Russian government, even if they were completely loyal to the Russian government. We have no idea how far this purge is going to be going either. We don't know if the purge is going to be affecting only the lower members of the government or all of the higher members of the government. We've already seen that the purge has taken out some of the most notable members of the Russian Ministry of Defense so far, such as Andrei Yudin and General Surovikin. It is not completely out of the question to say that this purge could go on to affect even more people inside of the central government. It could start to affect people like Medvedev, Shoigu. We don't really know. And only time will really tell how devastating and how effective this coup is in taking out some of the most known figures inside of the Russian government outside of Putin. And so that appears to be what we're looking at today, is an entire purge brought on by Putin's paranoia and the results of the Wagner coup. I thank you all so much once again for watching. If y'all did enjoy, please make sure to support us on Patreon. It helps us to continue to make videos like these. And also, if you enjoyed, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because we put videos out like these every single day of the week, 7 days a week. And not only that, we run live streams almost every single night, 6 days a week at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, covering the past 24 hours of the news of the war in Ukraine, the actual frontline news from start to finish. And so if y'all would enjoy to see that, please make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the like button on this video because it helps more people to see it. And also make sure to comment as well and let us know what you thought about this video and what you think about the ongoing situation inside of Russia. But of course, thank you all so much once again for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.